Our first guest of the evening is the co-founder of Blunts and More. He's the first ex-felon arrested for possession of marijuana to own a dispensary in the world. Yes, in the cannabis industry. And in an industry when less than 5% of cannabis dispensaries are owned by Black people, we have one of them right here tonight. Please welcome Alphonso Tucky Blunt to the stage. So, Tucky, how are you feeling tonight?
I feel hella good. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. This is a beautiful space. Happy to be here again.
This is dope. This is dope. Shout out to Mama Dog.
My guy.
Yes.
And it's hella funny because as cannabis scales and expands and becomes worldwide, it's just been a part of the fabric forever.
True.
Like
True.
weed culture as a whole. So before we get into this, like the large scale of your story, please set the scene for Oakland as you know it. Like it's completely different now, but Oakland as you knew it. Set that scene for our guest today, Tuck.
At what age?
Well, okay. Since you're
when
doing
I started selling weed or when I got arrested for selling weed?
When you started selling weed?
That was 96. I was 16. I was going to Street Academy, actually. Emiliano Zapata, which is not too far from here. Yes. Oakland then was just, we were talking about Tupac, the dual CD, All Eyes on Me. We talking about old school sideshows. Sideshows were real clean cars, not this sliding and drifting thing that you see. No, real sideshows. We talking about if you go into 97, 98, Black Fridays, Black Saturdays, people going out and hanging out, and somewhere as a teenager being able to go and kick it and have a good time. Couple of fights, but a good time. That was Oakland then, you know what I'm saying? You had OGs really talking to the youngsters, keeping them off the street. It wasn't just a free-for-all. It was respect then. It was code. It was morals. But you still was able to have a good time, you know, being on the street.
Thank you for setting the scene.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So now let's talk a little bit about the transition, right? So you were selling weed before it was legal, let's say, and now it's cannabis. And it's legal.
Yeah.
And it's been rebranded. It's different now.
Yeah, it's different.
It's commercial.
Supposedly.
So tell me a little bit about what was the transition like for you?
To be totally honest, I've always approached selling weed as a business. When I started selling weed at 16, I was working at Lucky, the grocery store. And one of my coworkers happened to see me off work, smelled me, and was like, "Hey, man, where you get that from?" I played it off, whatever. He kept asking me, so I finally was like, "Man, I get it from such and such. What you want?" He bought an ounce. He ended up telling the rest of the coworkers that smoked. I sold a pound within maybe a month, and I knew then. I said, "Well, I can sell weed where I worked." It was over. It was over, and that's literally how I've always sold my weed wherever I worked. I'm making money from you at work. I detail cars 30 years. I'm detailing your car on Monday. I'm inviting you to a party I'm throwing on Tuesday. I'm selling you weed on Wednesday. I'm selling you weed cookies on Thursday. Your car dirty again, so I'm washing on Friday. So that's how I always approached how I moved. And coming into the legal, that's still how I move. It's just the city is involved now. So it's a whole lot different. I didn't have to deal with nobody back then. I didn't have to worry about nothing. You know what I mean? This is different. It's great to be where I'm at and in the position I am and the inspiration for people, but the city has made it hard to thrive at what I'm trying to do.
Tuck, you said something, or you painting that scene highlights something very important for people specifically from the Bay, and that's that hustle, too. And the theme for today, ownership is power. We got that from Tuck.
We got that from you.
Yes,
You're the
heard.
inspiration for the entire theme tonight.
I
Congratulations.
Heard. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks.
Please make some noise for that, y'all.
That's dope.
What does that for you? You painted that regiment of hustle, but put that in Bay term, in layman's terms. What does that mean? Ownership is power.
So at the time of the interview that y'all speaking of, the ownership then was solely talking about just owning the spaces you in. If you gonna have a store, own the building. You know what I mean? That's power in owning that building, because if you ever choose to leave, you can rent it out to somebody, whatever. But since when I talked to y'all and y'all told me that this was going to be the title of it and what it was themed around or whatnot, it changed what it meant for me. But it was in my mind then, but it just didn't manifest until you guys told me. That ownership is owning yourself and ownership of how you move and the things you do and the energy you kick off. Because if I wouldn't be here if I was not owning how I move. You know what I'm saying? I've owned the thing. And I cuss. I've owned where I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I've owned where I've done bad, who I've done wrong. I'm not a saint. So to be able to acknowledge that and keep putting out the good energy and try to find people like you who keep that good energy, and then that leads to, I wouldn't be here if I didn't know you, but I only know you because I came and sat down with you to talk about what y'all want to do in the cannabis space on your music side. You understand me? And now we here. So that's for me what the ownership of power is, just owning you and knowing that once you control you and manifest you and how you need to be the best person you can be, then you can get out into this world and do that for other people. So y'all help change that.
Happy to be here, you know? Happy to be a part of the story. So I feel like another thing when I think ownership is power is I feel like there's influence, right? Like when you control the narrative, when you control if it's your story, if it's your business, how you move, there's also a power in the influence that you then have.
Right.
So in the space that you are, as the first, being the first in your lane, one of the few black-owned dispensaries in Oakland, is there a weight to that for you? And like, how do you carry that? What is that weight, the importance of that to you?
What's crazy is I didn't realize it was a wait till about 2 years ago. I was watching, and I never watched her before. This day I was watching Wendy Williams, and she was talking about an interview with the lady who was the first. She was the first black lady on the cover of a white magazine, whatever the white magazine was. She was the first.
Glamour, Cosmo.
And they was asking her, she was a kid when she got on there, and they was asking her, how did she feel about it? She was like, man, it was dope, it was cool, not in those words, but it was hard because I was the first. So now I got a bunch of people watching me who I've never met, and I got to be right for them. And it hit me then, and I was like, I didn't sign up for this. You know what I'm saying? I understand who I am and what I'm doing. I don't mind, leading my kids, my family, my friends, but to like see people who come way from New York to come to my store just to meet me and don't even know if I'm going to be there or not, that's something else. You know what I mean? And that's a lot to deal with because, it's different. When I sold weed back then, you only knew if I wanted you to know. Now I have to advertise that I sell weed. I got to move different. I got 5 kids. I got a wife. We got to think about that. I'm used to being able to roam around and not have to worry about nothing because I'm covered in the blood. But at the same time, I'm in a different position right now. So that's a different weight to carry. I try to carry it well. I smile and do good, but sometimes I be stressed the F out.
Carl, bleep that, please. Thank you. Court, you don't have to say it. I'll keep saying it. Subscribe. But we're talking about building and owning. How can we support you? How can the people here support you? Can Oakland show up for you? How can we spread the word to the world?
Y'all probably finna trip out when I say this, but support everybody. Support Oakland business. We only here if we support the business. It ain't just about me. Like, it's a bunch of cannabis clubs you can go to. Just find one and like it and enjoy it. You know what I mean? But we got to support the businesses that are out here. The stuff that is going on in Oakland right now is ridiculous. It's something I've never seen before. And I'm from here. You understand what I'm saying? Like, my grandparents are from here. Like, dude, I've never seen nothing like this. But the only way I believe that we can really, try to change it is us all banding together as business owners and, holding our communities accountable. You know what I mean? Like, we got to figure that out, but it's different. It's different. I thought about leaving several times, bro, and that's terrible to feel like that. You know what I mean? Because I need Blunt some more to be there. You know what I mean? And now there's another weight, like we just talking about in the back. I got staff and security teams that's been in my store 3 years, so now their family is relying on me being open. I can't close because the city, screwing me left, screwing me right, because they still able to get a check by us being open. So I got to be able to deal with that for them.
I want to ask you about how the community, how Oakland and other people, other business owners, how do you feel like you've been received? And like, what kind of feedback are you getting?
Honestly, I haven't, to my knowledge, they all cool with me. Everybody smokes or takes a gummy now all of a sudden. So yeah, I'm the guy now. So, but no, it's the community. Like, my neighbors love me, and I have different race neighbors, different age neighbors, but they love me. They come through. I'm very inviting. Like, it's like, hey, I happen to have a store that sells weed, but come chill, come hang out. I have a consumption lounge. You want to come in there and do your homework and have a J or have a gummy? Come on. You know what I'm saying? So by me being that and being community driven, my neighbors see that, and it's fake. I've been doing this. Like, I donate and do so much stuff that no one knows about in Oakland, and been doing it for hella years, but it's just what we supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So it don't bother me at all. So here's what it is.
Tuck, before we let you go, you hit on something. Everybody seems to smoke now or indulge, but having been on the wave and part of the Bay, being a part of that fabric for so long, now we're seeing an intersection with, mushrooms, weed, everything, but with driving conversations of mental health.
Yep.
You speak about that on your podcast. Congratulations to that,
Thank you,
Cannabis Talk.
Thank you.
Which
I interviewed him too. I got a couple of them. We got the Tuck Talks and the Cannabis Talk. Yes. Shout out to Draper.
We had a beautiful conversation in and around mental health. Where do you see Blunts and More going as a company and growing to be an advocate and continue to kick down doors for black spaces and black faces with mental health?
Well, you know me, I'm all about it. Like, me and my wife could argue, and I'm rubbing her booty in like 2 seconds. Like, I don't live in anger. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't. She could be mad, and I'm like, hi. Like, I'm not. So for me, it's all about the energy and just really what you're giving off. And if your mental health is good, your energy gonna be good. So if you live in that negative, your whole everything gonna be off. And I think that's what a lot of these youngsters and just people that's going through stuff is living in. They're living in that negative, and negative sells, so it goes faster. It feels like it's so much harder to do right, but it's really not. You just got to do it. It's easier to do the F stuff. You understand what I'm saying? But we make it feel like it's harder to be right. And I just think that with mental health and more people talking about it that look like us, because we were taught our mental health as a kid. Let's be real. My parents, they 63 and 61. They told me my opinion and what my mental health was. There was no, we actually ask our kids how they feel, and you know what I'm saying? And we have mental health talks now that never existed in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be willing to do that for our generation in order for it to, pan out right, I believe.
Wow. Oakland, please. Woo. Please.
Show Tucky some love.
Y'all could... Mondays, can we invite people to our Monday meetings? Domino's, we get busy.
Okay, so I'm not gonna be there this Monday because I have to go buy a toy. But Mondays at Blunts and More are Mama Jessie Mondays. Who is Mama Jessie? Mama Jessie is my grandmother on my mom's side who took me to my first dispensary in 1999. Rest her soul. She was a big smoker, advocate, and she taught me how to play dominoes. So normally on Mondays, if you want to find me, I'm at the lounge playing dominoes, randomly chilling, drinking coffee and stuff. So,
Oakland, make some noise for Tucky, y'all.
Yes.